There is a new CW trailer that just dropped for Kung Fu. And, Logan brought this to our attention. I did not see the trailer, but Logan is an expert at explaining things in an eloquent manner. So, Logan, tell us about what is Kung Fu?
So this Kung Fu looks like it's I can't tell if it's quite a reimagining or just a reimagined sequel of sorts. There was a 90s TV show, Kung Fu: The Legend Continues, which was with Keith Carradine. I think it was Keith Carradine, and I forget who played his son, but it was from the Kung Fu movie that was I don't even know when that was, but a while even back. But this series in particular is a CW series, so you can be assured everybody is unrealistically pretty. And it follows a quarter-life crisis, they say, of kind of like a young Chinese-American woman who drops out of college and goes on a life-changing journey to where else but an isolated monastery, because monasteries are there for your crises. When she returns, in however long it takes her there to find herself, her hometown is kind of overrun with crime and corruption and all the things that allows her to use these skills that she has just conveniently learned at this monastery that was conveniently there for her during her convenient crisis. I say this a little tongue-in-cheek. I'll probably end up watching it because I did like the series and the movies were entertaining as well. But it's just, trying to, use her martial arts skills she learned and her Shaolin values to kind of protect her community and bring everybody to justice and have a happy ending in the end. There are some interesting, besides just kind of, the story itself, it is kind of executively produced by Greg Berlanti, who was involved in all of the general Arrowverse kind of a mastermind there. So the fact that he's involved in this certainly I think lends to a generic, like a base level of quality that you can kind of expect from it. Hanelle Culpepper, who actually won, what was it? I think it was a Directors Guild Award for her directing work on the premiere episode of Star Trek Picard. And she's done some fantastic work behind the camera. As well as Martin Giro, who did a lot of work that I remember on, it was Stargate Atlantis and SG-1. He did a lot of work on kind of the Stargate TV series then. And he just, actually he worked on Dark Matter, I think, too, and a few other things. But just lots of good names kind of behind the screen, as well as an interesting, enough premise on the screen. And really, one of those taking a kind of a safe bet. The series lasted for the original series in the 90s. The Legend Continues lasted a number of seasons. The movies and kind of that memory of Carradine kind of stayed in everybody's mind. So I think this is, probably what they would see as kind of enough of a surefire hit and a memory. But also kind of a new spin and a new take on it that they can kind of catch the contemporary culture with it and hopefully end up with a hit in their hands.
And forgive me, so this is taking place at what time?
This is taking place, I believe, contemporarily. So nowadays.
Okay.
Yeah, current.
You think it might have been kind of riding the wave of the Karate Kid franchise re-releases? Or, because they dusted that old property off and we're making a mint on it.
I think that could certainly be one. Hollywood has never been particularly fond of taking an entirely new concept and, fully backing it to try and create something new. Sure. They would rather play with an established idea.
Yeah.
You know, they're going to tweak that idea to see if they can make it new and fresh and not, you know, Dances with Wolves with Blue Aliens, but they're going to try and play with something that has already existed because they know it worked once. How do we make it work again? Because it's a safer bet they see. And I think this is as much that as, all right, well, you know, like you said, Karate Kid kind of worked. You know, the Hawaii Five-0 remake just did what, 7-8 seasons, good or bad, neither. That besides the point. You know, it lasted, I think, longer than the original series did. So, you know, these kinds of slight remakes for contemporary audiences are a pretty safe cash cow, as much as we may, you know, grumble about it.
And forgive me, I didn't watch. I was thinking of Magnum PI.
Magnum PI is one. MacGyver was on CBS. That remake of MacGyver that went, I think that still might be even ongoing. How many Sherlock Holmes remakes have we had? I mean, these kinds of things are not new. So I don't know that pointing to one might necessarily be, you know, the all answer for this one. But it's just a Hollywood concept that just they continue to repeat over and over.
Well, yeah, again, to that point is, you know, if you have a car, you just, you know, put a new chassis on it, you know, you do some tweaks here, you give it a new coat of paint, and look, it's a new car. No, it's the same car you had for 10 years, but, you know, there's a new consumer base for it, so why the heck not?
New for 2021.
Exactly, it's a new model. You know, same story, new model. That's the catchphrase. And has anybody else seen or heard about this? Kenny,
Brianna. I watched the trailer, unlike you know, our humble host. But it looks good, and I did notice because I hadn't heard of Hanelle Culpepper before, but looked her up, and so she had done, like Logan mentioned, she had directed on Star Trek Picard. She's done work on Star Trek Discovery, as well as some episodes of The Flash and Supergirl. So she's been around CW and worked on those shows. So, you know, I'm excited to see where it goes. And I think similar to what Logan mentioned is this is basically just going to be an updated version of the original Kung Fu of David Carradine in the 70s. And, you know, so she's just going to solve problems with Kung Fu.
Every week is a new mystery, and you know, they solve it without a gun. You know, I'm just quoting the whole Once in a Time in Hollywood that Quentin Tarantino did when where I'm literally describing the scene from Bruce Lee, the legend, where he was talking about, you know, you're pitching the idea of Kung Fu, and then they gave it to somebody who's a little less Asian. So there you go.
You're talking about Dragon, the Bruce Lee story.
Dragon, the Bruce Lee story, yes. Not Bruce Lee,
they're pitching it, and they end up giving it, which is kind of pretty much what happened.
Yes, that's it. That sounds exactly like Hollywood. At least back then. Now they're trying to be a little more better, but it's still Hollywood. Good stuff. No, I'm going to definitely put that on the radar, and hopefully we can do some reviews. And you know, if you know, I can commit to actually watching it and doing my job.
If you can commit to watching a CW show.
Oh, yeah. Jeez. You know what? And to be, that's a good point. I need to go outside of my comfort level of Netflix, HBO Max, Amazon, and Hulu, and you know, come down, you know, a few.
Superman and Lois.
Superman and Lois. I heard.
Aren't all the CW shows on Netflix now?
All of the CW shows are actually on just the CW website.
Yeah.
For I think the last 5 are usually on their website and their app as well, which is no cost. But cool. Yes, they do, or at least did have a distribution agreement with Netflix that they do end up there, though usually after the series has come to an end. Or sorry, this particular season of the series has come to an end.
See, I get confused with all, because Warner Brothers has done all the Zack Snyder, you know, DC characters. But the other DC characters on CW, they're not under Warner Brothers?
They are Warner Brothers properties, obviously. This is actually being produced by Warner Brothers Television as well. But the deal that Greg Berlanti, I believe, has with kind of his producing production kind of house is that the deal had been going to Netflix, but at the same time there hadn't really been HBO Max in the way there has been. So this could be a Marvel TV way of they're just letting the contract run out to bring it back to HBO, because let's be honest, it should be there.
That makes sense. No, thanks for that clarification. Yeah, it's yeah, and I think HBO is making a play, and I think they're making a go of it, quite frankly. Because before I was looking at their stuff, and yeah, they had some great HBO shows that I'd love to watch. But they didn't have the Netflix level of content. So it looks like they are trying to snatch up all the remaining properties and bring them under the umbrella.